Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm really excited to say I have none other than KISS and Grand Funk Railroad guitarist Bruce Kulick with me, along with his lovely wife Lisa. I think in this interview, you'll get to see a little bit of a different side of Bruce, as this is the first time he's ever done an interview with his wife, and I'd like to take a moment and thank the both of them for coming on my show together for the first time. As you will see, our video recording unfortunately crops a little bit of Bruce in some cases. Bruce and I discussed this, and we felt the best thing to do was still to release the video and let everybody still be able to see and hear everything that we discussed. While you're here, hit that subscribe button below on my YouTube channel. Also, head on over to my Facebook page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, and subscribe there. Each and every day, we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. Now, without further ado, let's get started with my chat with Bruce and Lisa Kulick. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I'm very excited to have somebody with me who needs absolutely no introduction. KISS and Grand Funk Railroad guitarist Bruce Kulick and his lovely, lovely wife Lisa. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good.
All right.
Excellent.
Mike, you're the first one to get the dynamic duo. Okay?
That's right. I feel honored, and thank you both. I appreciate it. So
I'm glad you're our first, okay?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you both. I appreciate it. So, so saying that, I first, as a KISS fan, I want to thank the both of you guys. As we're doing this, we're in a pandemic around the world, right? And the videos that the two of you put up on what seems to me like a daily basis has been a source of joy and excitement for KISS fans. And I'll just want to start off by saying thank you to the both of you for doing that. It's been a lot of fun watching those.
Cool.
Excellent.
Well, it's a two-way street. We're very, we're frustrated that life changed so much. I used to travel a lot, and my week was bookend by gigging, and everything's postponed, and who knows when it's really safe and going back. But for the immediate future, I know I don't have any of those travels. And then knowing that a lot of people don't have their they have a lot of free time to be on social media. So I have their attention more than usual. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
And, once I crawled out of my kind of fear and frustration and kind of scaredness about this, I recognized that doing my music would help me, and then that the people really even want to hear my music, that's wonderful. And you were aware from seeing us in New York that Lisa was always kind of like in my world, where when I needed to do those kind of performances, what better singer could I have than my own wife? Okay. Even though, I'd love to work with Karabi and things with my band, my local band that I call the Mob, the members of Bruce's band. But she's right here with me. So it's like, come on, we got to do some content, right?
Absolutely.
And then we got busy rehearsing again. It didn't take a lot of time, but I do want everyone to realize that, there is a lot of preparation, but that's the process of an entertainer. You rehearse, you go over things. The fact that I have to be, like my own, we got to set up the camera, the iPhone on the tripod and get a decent light. I don't have any lighting rigs and things like that. We're relying on the sun, and what room has the right angle at the right time. And then I do have an amp for her to sing through. We bought that a few years ago because I did always enjoy the Christmas songs that we always put out. And but this has been a whole growing process of doing things more from the home, and the virus has kind of, and the situation everyone's in, it's kind of been the great equalizer with it. You know what I mean? Because even your very famous talk show hosts and everything, basement, and the production's just like kind of, not quite as amazing.
Right.
So we're going to keep growing with it. I bought a mic that might even make the, audio even better. And then we'll look at other techniques down the line. I'm thinking of adding in, because I'm working on getting my home recording studio, to actually function in a better way than it ever did. I used to always go to someone's house or have a guy come in with his laptop with Pro Tools and work my speakers, but now I'm stuck. I want to do it all myself. So there even are some songs, and I keep telling Lisa, trust me, that I'll do a little bit of backing stuff, just not a full production, but something to help support us on the songs that don't fly with just one acoustic guitar and her voice. service, okay? And I don't mean layering a million things. I'm just talking about as simple as a click and a bass playing, and a chord comes in where I go to the lead guitar, you know? So I have all these concepts that are really exciting. That in some ways, I'm busier than ever, but I'm not saying I'm making anywhere near the kind of money,
of course,
because of touring, playing, and all. But the satisfaction of working hard and us getting a positive reaction from the fans, it's a two-way street. I do want everyone to know that feedback, that them sharing it. We look sometimes at the numbers, even though it's not about the numbers, but that's our thank you, and that I feel that, wow, they want this content. They want to see it. They want more. They have requests, and I'm happy. And with especially the stuff with Lisa, we're always going to work on new things, but it won't be every day with her. You know, right? Like once a week we'll have a track. I think it's the goal to share a video of us performing, and then my isolated riffs I could just do in my pajamas, you know, sitting here, or honey, just hold the phone. I got a riff to play. I'm going to show you this. I try to do it in a very presentable way, but I'm constantly, you know, I'm actually a little bit behind with that, and we have a few things in the can, and probably after I talk to you, I got to figure out a couple more riffs to do, you know, to feed. I'm feeding the fans, you know. So it's been exciting and pretty crazy, actually. It's really been, but a lot better than watching the news and feeling, you know, kind of frozen. I don't want to be that. I want to move forward.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned the rehearsal and having to practice some of these things. And one of my favorite videos that you guys did together was Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Right. So first off, the guitar playing was amazing, but Lisa, I'm not a singer. You know, my friends make fun of me that if I try to sing, I invent notes that don't exist. Right. But that always seems like a hard song to sing to me. And you really, you nail that. It's such a great performance. And I really thoroughly enjoyed that. When did you start singing?
Well, thank you, Mike. I've sung my whole life. A lot of people will realize soon exactly how long ago I started and some of the things that I did before being here in Bruce's world.
When you share it.
When I share it and getting to know all of you. But I did perform in New York regularly years ago, and I have some, but it was all like standards and cabaret music over the rainbow, that sort of stuff. So coming in and singing KISS songs, and that was definitely a challenge because it's not easy stuff to sing. And of course, you know, you're singing things Paul Stanley sung. Right. Registers. Amazing songs. Absolutely. Now, I was a KISS fan. A lot of people asked, were you a KISS fan before with Bruce? And yes, I was. And the non-makeup years, those were my years, because that was when I was, you know, 18, 19, 20 years old. And so that's the time that I did embrace. So to be able to sing some of these songs that I absolutely loved, it's really a amazing opportunity. So things like the New York Expo, you know, that was just such an amazing experience. It really was. But now during this time, to be able to just sit in our own home and go ahead and sing on, you know, for all of you, it's just brought a lot more joy into my life to be able to share that side. So we're really having a good time, but it is a lot of work.
No, it absolutely is. You know, I remember saying to my friend at the New Jersey Expo, Lisa, that, you know, how do I say this? It takes a lot of guts to get up in front of a room full of KISS fans who are brutal at times, right? Let's be honest, right? I'm one of them, so KISS fans are brutal. And to sing Paul Stanley songs, which is not easy. And now you're doing it on videos online where people have rewind, pause, fast forward, let me listen to that again. And it's not easy stuff. Tears Are Falling, Reason to Live, things like that. Do you ever get nervous when you put a video up? Like, oh, KISS fans are going to crucify me.
Of course. I mean, when we did it for some of the KISS expos in Indiana for Keith LaRue and his crew, that was kind of the experimental period. And because everybody goes every year, it's the same group, we got a lot of love. And it felt really special to be able to sing those songs. But yet we knew we were in an environment where people would embrace it and enjoy it. The New York Expo, though, that was a whole different thing, because I knew, you know, living in New York for several years, exactly that crowd could be a little challenging. You know, I didn't know how it would go over for them, if they would enjoy it. And I think I know that all the songs that we sang went over well, but I think it was Who Wants to Be Lonely. Mm-hmm. And because that hadn't been done in many years,
absolutely,
people really weren't sure
crazy,
what they were hearing first when I went into the first chorus, into the first verse. So it was kind of quiet. And then when they realized the song and I heard the cheers, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is going to work. And then we even did Over the Rainbow. And that, and to hear them cheer for that, it really was wonderful. It was really great.
The New York that performance that we rehearsed for, that promoter, no need to mention anyone's name.
Yeah.
It was with Peter, and it was well received. It was not very well organized for a lot of, but I wanted it always to be a win-win thing. And there was problems with the PA and late with a lot of things, and the tribute band were really cool. And I was just trying to like Lisa and I to get up there and do our thing the best we could.
Yep.
And but we did prepare. Like, I was able to convince that promoter. I would go like, look, I want to bring my wife. You don't have to pay me more for it, but just pay for that ticket, and we're going to perform. You know what I mean? I think he was aware that we did other things, but that meant us putting together a bigger show, more songs. And fortunately, it really, there aren't great YouTubes of it. There is some stuff up there, and I'm going to remind people about it another time. But and that's the basis for a lot of the things that we've shared since the pandemic, actually. There's so many other things too that we want to do, and there's a few other songs from Unplugged that we did at a KISS Expo last year. But it was like the end of the Sunday night. It wasn't crowded. I don't think anyone really got it that great on film. But what better way to do it than now? And of course, here in the house where we'll control it and do the best we can.
Absolutely.
But she's always been my kind of secret weapon. I always had this crazy fantasy that I've always shared with her and some people, that like I used to do a lot of odd things post KISS. I did my clinics over in Europe and everything, and then I befriended a really wonderful man that has worked with me and Eric Singer and John Corabi repeatedly as kind of like a tour manager promoter guy. And this guy Nicholas, at one point I was working with a girl that had a record out, so she had some connection to a German label, and we were able to do something. But booking little shows in that area of Switzerland and looking at Germany and Amsterdam, and then I remember that evolved into like a couple of dates at ski chalets, right? And that was like, oh my God, I don't care about skiing, but Swiss Alps are beautiful. Okay. They're wonderful. They're going to go to their bar club to drink and smoke and hang out and be entertained. Right. And that's what I would fantasize about, being able to go to Switzerland, like do like a residency at a chalet for a week. Right. And it's like heaven up there, Now, of course, I'm not making any plans. Travel is just like not something to talk about right now. But the point is, wouldn't that be lovely to do some things like that with my own wife, so that we can experience, a nice place, and at the same time making it's like a working vacation.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that's what's exciting.
Absolutely. No, I remember after that 2017 show that you guys are talking about in New York, I came back to the table where you guys were. First, I asked if I could take a picture with the both of you, because I'm like, I need a memento from this day, number one. And, number two, Bruce, I remember asking you, hey, are you going to bring your wife on the cruise, and are you guys going to perform together? And, because at that time you hadn't performed yet on the cruise, and you're like, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We'll see. But, I'll say that performance left an impression on me that, to me, I felt I saw something special that day. So. Well,
and that was always something that Lisa and I talked about. She'd always say, well, maybe we could just like casually go jam at one of the places at the cruise. And now these past two cruises that she accompanied me, to be quite honest, they have everything so jam packed.
Yes.
Ben does a fantastic job. And do you ever really feel like
I don't even know where or when.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like
because they book everybody. The last thing I need is necessarily another commitment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did understand when Lisa said, "Hey, organically, let's say it was someone that we got up and did a couple of songs." But it's okay. We have always loved the cruises, and that band that I have is so terrific. So I don't know, but like you said, well, maybe one day you'll do it on the cruise. We can do it anywhere. We'll see. But right now it seems to be, if my stage is my home, My arena is open to everybody. You know what I mean? The
Absolutely.
stage, and the performance will keep coming.
Absolutely.
And that's a nice thing to keep looking forward to. And I'm glad I brought a lot of joy. I hope you saw the little video that we did, like a thank you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Played a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's other things like that. The local musicians union here wants us to, wants their artists to do something. So Lisa and I were talking about that at breakfast yesterday. There was a song that we did put out on, iTunes and Spotify, a digital single. That could be that chorus, and a little bit of that music could be turned into a "I just want to thank you," kind of thing.
Okay,
so
nice.
We're going to record that this weekend. And obviously, I could share that on social media as well. It's not going to be owned by the union, but the point is, I love this creative period, and I'm seeing it from so many artists. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Rich Springfield is doing the comedy version of all that. You know? What I mean?
Oh, those are hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, take 6. How to play
Jesse's Girl in 1 minute.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is.
Even though I remember Bonamassa, who was one of the first artists that I respected, that would just sit there. You see his, he had his phone in front of him, play. And I remember him doing that years ago, and I dabbled in it a little bit. But I remember when the pandemic first happened, he said, like, I'm signing off from social media for a while. That didn't take long. I think within 2 months, just keep posting himself playing, and everybody's doing it.
Right. Absolutely.
And let me ask you this idea.
Yeah.
See what your reaction is, because a jazz buddy of mine who he does commercial songs too, but his real love is jazz. And Lisa and I one time jammed at his house with a couple of these older jazz guys that played with Sinatra and Sammy Davis and stuff like that, which is music we love. But he was telling me that put up a live Facebook concert, you know what I mean? Announce it to the fans. I'm always a little nervous about, like, hopefully the internet's going to be strong then. Sure. It's not, going to freeze and things like that. But make a mention that, tune in here. You can have a little tip jar there. And I would want to donate a portion of that to a COVID-19 charity. Helping. I did that for the cameos that I did. Yep. Let's say feeding hungry children in this situation. But you think the fans would like that and sign on and enjoy?
I would clear my calendar to make sure I'm watching it live. I think to me it's a great idea. I love it. I've gotten a great kick out of whether it's your videos, like you said, Rick Springfield's videos. To me, that's helped enormously in this time where everybody's stuck in the house. So if it was a live thing, is spontaneous, the internet, who knows, right? That's out of our control, right?
Yeah,
but to me, I think it would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Great. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. We're going to look at trying to get into that. I just wanted to, I'd want to have a structure for it, because if I was going to say, hey, for this hour, have a name for it, an evening with Bruce and Lisa, I'd be doing my thing, and then she'd join me, and then we take questions and chat and play. But I'd want to have like a structure to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we'll figure that out. That's going to come too. Then there's another thing to come.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned before the KISS Cruises, right? So obviously it was announced before all the crazy stuff started that you were going to be back on the cruise this year.
Yeah.
Any idea? Do you think this is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the $1 million question, and I don't think, when it comes to, I know there are some things that in the fall have already been discussed as a go. And then there's some things in the fall that I've heard from other people that they're not going to happen, because that government or that country doesn't want anything happening until, you know what I mean, they have a better idea as another date. And this is going to be, I'm totally comfortable leaving up to 6-man cruise lines, because this is unprecedented. I don't want to use the word ever again in this chat.
Let's hope not.
So I feel the same way as anybody else would. If it can be done safely and it's the all clear signal, I'll be there. I don't think anyone knows, and the month of April is not even over yet.
Exactly.
So let's see what happens. I'm still praying for the magic vaccine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But even the press conference that I just saw today, I caught just 10 minutes of it. Everything that they said, that they weren't so sure that what Georgia was doing is the right thing, and they're not sure yet. Because they seem to be really anxious. And I'm still trying to figure out how do you socially distance from your hairdresser. I'm not sure. I'd love to have my hair cut.
I'd love to, right?
I love a massage from 6 feet. I'm still trying to figure that out. So I don't know what's going on. And certainly a tattoo. I don't know. I didn't know they were 6-foot extensions for the needles.
Really, that's crazy.
And I know that my state of Nevada. First of all, I've always lived in New York, California, and now Lisa and I have been here almost 2 years. The governor, I know the mayor is going wild trying to get things open, but I know the governor doesn't want it, yet. So they'll figure it out. And California is not going to rush into anything. We know that. And New York is certainly being the ground zero. You know what I mean? Once again, for a national tragedy.
Absolutely.
And I love listening to Cuomo. I know he likes to. He's like the uncle that you want to have, I feel.
Right.
So he doesn't go for debate, too. He doesn't get in the gutter. He doesn't make it political. He recognizes that everything is political, but he doesn't go there. And he talks science, and he talks, here's what could happen, and I know everybody wants this and this and this, but this is what's going to happen. So I'm I monitor certain things. I'm not obsessed with the news. I don't want to be. And everything is, related. Obviously, I see something on another channel that talks about the cruise lines and how and this was early on, and how it got hit. So I listened to it because I want to know what would be their state of mind about this. But on the same hand, what is Live Nations as being the biggest promoter in America?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What is their position? And there's been some indications, but nothing really definitive yet. So I don't know. Obviously, I'm hoping for the best. All the way around, whatever that is. And even if it can't happen when everything's scheduled, it will eventually happen.
Exactly.
And I want to be there, but I don't know how it's going to go down. I don't know. And I only want to deal with it. You asked one of those future questions.
Right.
And here we are talking about the furthest out I went with everything that I have planned on my plate is maybe a couple of weeks.
Right.
That's pretty big.
Absolutely.
Within a week, I want my studio working.
Right.
Within 2 weeks, maybe we'll go live on Facebook.
Right.
Ask me about 6 months now. I don't know. I don't want to go there because my head's going to explode.
Fair enough.
Right.
To me, one of the things on the cruises the last few years, I remember the feedback that go into the band from standing in the crowd and how excited the fans were to see these shows. And Lisa, you were saying before you saw KISS in the 80s. And, to me, I remember I was a KISS fan all through the 70s, 80s. I saw Bruce in concert, every tour in the 80s. And Bruce was always the guy that you could count on. He was the musician. He was there. He was playing, taking it serious, rocking the whole time. He was holding down the fort. And on the cruise, I saw, especially this last year, a much different side of Bruce. He seemed loose, relaxed. At one point, Bruce, I remember you were dancing during Paralyzed. You getting all into it and excited. As his wife, right, seeing him feeling that love from the fans and to me, seeming enjoying every moment. How does that make you feel as his wife, going from fan in the 80s to now watching him on the side?
Right.
Especially during I Walk Alone, that put me over the edge. I'm very proud of him, and being with him now, over 10 years, I've seen his work ethic. I know what he does to prepare. I know how much work and not just mentally, but physically in playing some of those songs. Believe me, he was a wreck before the cruise. And even in the rehearsals, and I watched him rehearsing, and I pulled him aside and I said, Bruce, this is such a great opportunity. I know that you want to do well. You want to please the fans. You want to be there for the guys and the group and get those deep cuts that aren't easy for him. He's been playing classic rock for 20 years, and
Absolutely.
to go into this, speedy, rock music, it's a different thing. But I told him, just have fun. You've got to be loose, especially if you want to be physically able to do all this. The more tense and the more you are, trying to get every note, just loosen up. And he did. I was so proud that he did. Help, him have a good time up there.
Yeah, and it's always good to have, she's my voice of reason in a way. And there's times I also have to, I see how she's handling something, and I like to give her, my 2 cents, but that's valuable for me. And it's great that she's aware of what I do. She's always there to listen to my complaints and my fears. And that's real important. That's why now's a great time for everybody to kind of if you're married, to make that relationship really as healthy as it can be. Mm-hmm. So fortunately, even though, sometimes we stress each other, we have a great relationship, and that advice that she's giving me on something that's hard for me is valuable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I have to admit though, like when we rehearse, and then that's her artistic ego and her, and then I'm saying, the
outtakes would be amazing.
Yeah, the outtakes.
I'm sure they would be.
And because I could tell, like, I may want to explain something to her, but I'll do it kind of snarky. Mm-hmm. And the next thing I know, she's like, I can barely breathe right now. You're saying, and I'm like, no, you took it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I just mean, do it like this.
That's probably the only time that we ever have those types of exchanges. The rest of the time, we're best friends and having a great time. Laughing a lot. And then we get into that.
But that's the creative process, the creative thing. And she knows that I have, I love when she stands up for herself or expresses herself, but I've had to teach her more of how to, like when I'm with my band, here in Vegas, all I have to say, no, let's take it from the, second verse or the G chord, right, and I just start playing, they'll fall right in. I just go 2, 3, chorus, boom, and we're there. Right. And there's times I'm used to, and a lot of the players like that are used to talking the music language, what I mean? If you take the top, what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right, from the bridge out, what I mean? And sometimes, and she'll be like, where are we?
Well, he's a musical guy when it comes to the melodies of things. I'm more of a lyric person.
Right, so she wants to hear what word.
Which starting, or
yeah, and I don't know the words.
And he doesn't even know the lyrics. He's all listening to the melodies. It's very funny.
But
I make it work.
But I have been kind of giving whatever. I used to do a lot of counseling for that rock and roll fantasy camp. Yep. Paul and Tommy and all have done it. Gene. I become camp counselor, get a little crazy, but it's all fun. But one of these silver lining things that I wanted to mention about the pandemic is, of course, me being more self-reliant, being here, connecting with the fans in a bigger way, that they're really showing me a certain love that really gives me the energy to do more. You know what I mean? So that's a two-way street there. But I've always wanted to present my wife and share more of her and not do it in a, and by the way, my wife sings, listen to this.
Right.
But I have their attention now, and that's led into also this art that she's been doing for a few years now, and she just opened that Etsy store. Was it January, February?
January.
It was fairly recent, and we've never been about like, boom, here you go, you got to go visit this. I've never been that way. What I mean? Right. And now, now that they've been enjoying her performances, a lot of the Expo people that she was able to come with me, and she put out some of that art. That stuff went like in like the first couple of people on the VIP list. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fine, what I mean. It didn't even make it to the regular public, Right. But now that she's got that store where things can be customized or ordered and in stock, and it's been really great. And then it's so funny. As soon as we started to share it, all of a sudden the phone started dinging, from the Etsy orders. Mm-hmm. You had over a dozen. And it's like, I don't even know how I'm going to get all these done in time. Right. That process, Right. So that's been exciting also to share the fact that she has this passion. And that's why I want Lisa to get more active on the social media. There is lots of times when she shared and sent over to Jolene, my assistant one, to like, this guy's asking for this. I don't want to deal with it. No, just send it to her. Right. She'll know what to say, because there's a professional way to handle the fans. Of course. You know what I mean? And I don't want my wife always to be in that awkward position, possibly.
Absolutely. Of course.
Of judging, is this real? Do you want to do this, Bruce? What is this guy asking? I don't know what to tell him about this or this. Right. So, she's been a little bit of a conduit, but that's no different than, if you're a mayor of the town and your wife knows people are going to ask the wife, could you ask the mayor if it's possible to, like, could I get a little bit of, help with the storefront issue? What I mean? Whatever.
Right.
So I don't mind them asking her, but just it's so funny. We can't separate our lives, and I don't mind that. I want her. She's been always the woman behind the man, and that helps me be successful. And she sees how hard I work and my work ethic. We've chatted about that too. I remember one wasn't that long ago, you said, like, you're really one of those guys, like you get an idea to do something, and then you start getting it in motion, and then you actually see it to fruition. I mean, where there is the Animalized 35 guitar pick package.
Yep, absolutely.
And it wasn't even my freaking idea. One of those pick collector freaks that I know that has been
Ken, right? That was Ken?
Yeah, Ken, yeah. That he's like, why don't you offer this? A 10? Who does that? He goes like, here, look. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Let's work on it. Sure. I mean? And then I'm working with the pick company. I'm working with him. I get another guy involved. Another friend of mine, Michael. It's crazy, but it comes together, and then eventually, sometimes it could take months, or sometimes less or more, and then there it is, and it's up on my website. You can order it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I admire that she's seen that, and it's not easy. You gotta juggle a lot of issues. From just the final decision to not hurting anyone's ego when they do it one way, then the pick guy says, no, we shouldn't do it that way. It won't show. And I gotta, figure out the best way to make it happen.
Absolutely.
So I don't mind being the CEO and the president of the situation,
Right.
but there is a lot of, and I go to her a lot. Jolene knows her thing, but I have to go to her a lot because she's right here with me all the time. To like, hey, how do I handle this? You know what I mean? Maybe you can approach it this way, Bruce. And then lots of times we'll discuss that, and that helps.
Right.
But he's up early in the morning.
Yes, I am.
Most of the time, okay, look at the clock. No, you're going back to bed. One more hour. You have because he would be up at 5:30 if he had his choice.
Answering emails.
And answering, I'm the one making the coffee, and I sit back with my coffee in my bowl. He's emailing.
Yeah, and he knows. That's how I set this up.
Right, that's true.
That's it. It's done. We're going to go watch some shows or have, because he
Well, I don't mind that. I mean,
12, 24 hours.
No, that I like some free time. Right. And, look, my career, half of it is actually a lot of fun when I'm dealing with like talking guitars with people, or maybe I have to order some strings or just promote, work with ESP, deal with things like that and deal with the music end of it. A lot of that's a lot of fun and it's rewarding. There is a lot of it that's, managing schedules and figuring out, the best way, like setting up those guitar lessons. I'm using the app, so that alleviates that. But then I'm like, they start coming in fast and furious. And I'm like, oh my God, I booked too much time that day. I don't have a break. Wait a minute. You know what I mean? So I have this new learning curve about all of that, but yeah,
but you try to sit down, you try to read the comments and answer questions and, it's not easy, but he does. He enjoys doing that.
Social media is a beast, but I'm still learning it. I'm really enjoying it, actually. Right. But it is a lot to deal with,
Absolutely.
I'm going to learn more about it.
Yeah, you mentioned before, and Lisa, you mentioned it as well. And Bruce, you like to be prepared and kind of plan things out, whatever. I remember, I think it was 2018 when you were on the cruise, and it wasn't announced that you were going to perform acoustic with KISS on that cruise. And I've seen a picture in when we were waiting at the safety briefing, and you're holding a phone up to your ear, and it looks like you're listening to MTV Unplugged. Is it true that you really found that out when you got on the boat that you were going to be performing with them? And how did you react? And Lisa, keep him honest. How did he react when he found out last minute that he was going to perform with them?
You'll tell your version of it.
Well, there were some rumblings, but we didn't have anything, didn't know the song. And, it's not that easy to just, okay, Bruce, you're going to get up, you're going to play, and this is what you're going to play. Right. He has a guitar with his comfortable strings and those kinds of things. So we didn't really hear anything. And then, all of a sudden, Tommy says, can you come up to the room? We're going to have you sit in with us. And, well, what song and what guitar am I going to play? And, they went.
That was KISS Kruise IX.
That was KISS Kruise IX.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you were a wreck.
Yeah, I learned.
He was like, once he found out what he was going to play, just like you saw, he's like looking at his iTunes, we're finding the songs, listening, and then he's playing, and then he and Tommy are rehearsing, and it wasn't just hey, Bruce, come on up. There was a little preparation. Boy, it was maybe an hour, 2 hours of preparation.
Before, right. Oh, no, but the KISS Kruise IX, I already had the conversations with Tommy before we left. Okay. And I had a guitar sent with one of my other guitarists to be on the boat. So I didn't have that stress of Tommy's guitar
But you still didn't know what you were going to do.
I didn't actually
Really?
know, but able to right, yeah, because we had the kind of like a wish list, which went a little deeper. If you think about it, the songs on KISS Kruise IX, they stretched out more.
You played like 8 or 9 songs with them on KISS Kruise IX.
Yeah, like to include like World Without Heroes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I hadn't really ever, I know that Tommy and I talked about it, but I didn't know they'd go for it.
Mhm.
Even she, I mean, I was
Right.
really surprised, right?
Mhm.
But we did get a chance to actually rehearse with Gene and Paul, and that was exciting, back in Paul's room. And then actually Paul invited Lisa and I in his suite where he had his, in his room where the stereo was, so he could play me some Soul Station, play us Soul Station.
Well, and Bruce had said to me, after that had happened, he said, "Now, do you to witness that?" Which is a rehearsal like that, which was very interesting and very fun to watch, because you could see all of a sudden you have Tommy there, and Bruce and Tommy get along very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been any animosity. They're friends, but then to see Bruce in the mix with all of that, and you see the personalities, Paul's personality toward Bruce, Gene's personality, and all of a sudden here's like the camp counselor, you're out of tune, Paul, Gene, what part are you playing? All of a sudden he's in the mix, and Paul rolls his eyes and goes, "Oh, just like old times." He hasn't changed. But it was really fun watching. But what was really special is when he had decided to do Every Time I Look at You, which is my very favorite song.
Okay.
That's coming up in our queue, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So they're working on that and getting started, and he goes to the second verse, and he looks up, "What's the lyric?"
Yeah, I think he knew that. She gave her,
and I gave the lyric, which for me, as much as I've been in Bruce's life all these years, and believe me, leading up to meeting Bruce, I wasn't as into KISS like I was when I was younger. I had a family, I was a mother, so to come back in and start dating Bruce and getting back into the KISS world was, really exciting at times, thinking, the 19, 20-year-old, here with KISS, that was mind blowing, but then every day, the woman that I become is just, Bruce is my husband, and this is. But that moment when Paul looked up, "Hey, Lisa, what's the lyric there?" I was like, "Oh, this is really cool."
Right. That is very, very cool.
My video, he knows I sang the song.
Right.
And he knew you'd know the song. I mean, Unplugged is such a great
it's amazing
performance, and we're working on a few more things from that album.
Okay.
Because they're done more broken down and acoustic and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we can, get a lot of more of those songs included in these performances. It'll be fun.
And I was just going to say, singing those songs are just not only special because they're songs that I really loved and grew up with. I could never sing them like Paul Stanley. I would never try. I mean, that's the voice that I absolutely loved and was drawn to. But the thing I tell Bruce is, okay, if we're going to do this, I need to try and make it my own.
Absolutely.
I can't sing it like him. And that makes me a little nervous to see how it would go over with fans, but hoping that they'll see that we'll keep the magic of it, but, I'll sing it the best I can that works for me.
Right. Well,
I'm the first producer, so I'll let you know if it's not in the right direction. But I think her instincts are right, and she's going to do a good job.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure she will. And to me, I think back to Bruce, like even on the Kiss My Ass album, and I think it was Toad the Wet Sprocket that had done Rock and Roll All Night. They did it acoustic. They really changed up, but to Lisa's point, they made it their own. And I dig that. I dig that version, So to me, it's cool when you hear an artist put their own twist on a song and kind of make it their own. So I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, soon.
Awesome. So when you guys are on the cruise, do you get to hang out like with Paul and his wife and Gene and his? I know they usually bring their families. Do you guys have opportunities to hang out together?
Yeah. What's really amazing is the headliners of these cruises. There's a floor that's really out of this world, and I think on those ships that the cruises have been on, they call it the Haven or something like that. It's the very top. And the rooms up there are, really large and wonderful. Although I know when the bands play, it's very annoying for them. They're very
sure.
The pool stage is brutal. I remember Eric, this past tour he was like, you can have my room next year. I don't want this room. You know what I mean? He has to be up there with those guys. You know that. So, and it is very lovely. I mean, and then, we've enjoyed it up there.
Yeah. I mean, we're usually with Eric because Bruce and Eric are.
And a couple of times with Tommy.
With Tommy.
And then we'd eat up there, have a snack, or just pop up there. We don't spend a lot of time up there because there's also the artist lounge, which is a lot of fun. Sure. But it is a way, there is this network of all the artists that always happens. Okay. I'm one of the more privileged ones, to have that opportunity to hang out, at the top with KISS, which is wonderful. But the cruise, the whole thing in general is just always, it's just such a fun thing. I really, really, I get it. It's Disneyland for KISS out on the seas. It's really, it's amazing.
Absolutely. So why did it take you, Bruce, 3 cruises to sing "I Walk Alone"?
I just get shot.
Oh, you're lucky you saw it this time around.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the guys pressing him to do it and me saying, "Come on, you can manage it." And Todd said, "I'll sing behind you," and Brett.
Yeah, no, it all worked out.
And then.
Yep. No, it's always been this little like, I'm not that comfortable singing and playing, and that's why I have so much respect for the guys who have made, big careers doing that. Todd and Zach when they're doing it, and Paul and Gene, of course. McCartney, playing all those bass lines and performing. It's amazing because there are a lot of bands that have that front guy. He's running around. But even Steven Tyler can play the piano and sing, and there are various bands that have that, and I do have a lot of respect for those players.
Yeah, and look, you have 2 great singers in your band, in Zach and Todd. So definitely I understand letting them sing. But I'll tell you, for me, the 3 cruises, that might have been the highlight performance was seeing "I Walk Alone," because it had been 20 years since one of the KISS Expos in the 90s when you were doing it with Union. So I've been waiting 20 years. So thank you for finally bringing it back out. And
another one to say that, because you're not the first one to say that.
I saw men crying.
Yeah, men cried.
Absolutely.
Men cried, and I was peeing in my pants. That's what was happening. A lot of liquid happening.
That's very funny. So, Bruce, I know you mentioned in an interview recently that you're actually considering recording an album with the guys in your band. Is there any update on that? Are you guys working on that?
Without the pandemic, I would have thought we would be recording already some in the month of April. And make some progress, and I did a lot of it. It was kind of funny, too, because I did some of it. It was really weird. Like, Lisa got a cold, what was it, February, top of February or something?
No, right? It was first part of March.
First part of March,
End of February.
End of February. And then I remember I didn't want Todd and this wasn't related to, COVID-19. We never even heard that term yet. We heard about something happening over in China, but, and I remember saying to Todd, look, Todd, you're he had dates booked. He was performing in Vegas in this Raving Rock Vault, every night. And he's a frontman singer. I'm like, don't come over. Let's work on FaceTime. Lisa's got a call. I don't even want, it was social distancing before it was, kind of president's rule. You know what I mean?
Right, sure.
And then, we worked on the song. It was great. And then I did the same thing with Zach. Yeah, don't get in the car. Come over here. She was already better. Let's just do it like this. You save more time. So any of the future progress, which is going to be happening soon again, it's going to be done that way. I know there's some ways that we could do some demos with never even being in the same room. I'm looking into that now. And it all requires that they all have some sort of home studio set up. And again, it would be the demo. It wouldn't be the record. But I'm going to be working with them. I'm going to it's been funny. Those 3 guys are the hardest working guys, always doing 20 projects a month and busy. And I have to admit that this has got to be really shocking for them. Sure. I mean, I was always doing the Grand Funk thing and KISS things and things with my wife and staying busy doing sessions and giving lessons. But most of it was the live gigging, So now I can't do that. So now the focus on social media is more, the lessons are more, the content with myself and my wife, and then I want to rope in the way that the stuff with my band too can be impactful and we can make progress.
Sure.
So I'm working on it. I'm not giving it up. It's still early in the process. This thing. So that's high on my radar to get done.
Awesome. So will you ever sing one of the songs on this, or are you going to leave all the singing to Todd and Zach?
Oh, I haven't gotten to that point yet. I didn't really write something that I thought I would sing.
Okay.
Let's see. We'll
Okay.
see.
Because I was going to say on the cruises, I was happy you did I Walk Alone last year. I've actually even hoped every year that you do a couple of songs from your solo albums that you've done. So I love songs like I Don't Mind, Crazy. Those are great songs, and I'm like, would Bruce ever do some of those songs on the cruise? This is the place that KISS fans notice stuff.
No, I know. And just remember the cruise performances. It's an hour 15, so
course,
I didn't. And there's so many deep tracks to explore. Although those will get finite in time, but we still don't know, how many more cruises there are or what's going on yet. Who knows?
Sure.
We'll see.
Absolutely. So before, Lisa, you were mentioning your artwork, right? So I think you call it Bling art, right? So where could people find that if they want to get? I know you said before, I think Etsy. Is that where people can find that?
Yes, the Etsy.com store is where my shop is. My shop is called LVG Creations.
Okay.
And you can find it. I believe somebody said they found it by going to LVG Creations Art.
Okay.
But just to make it easier, I'll tell somebody, just go in and put in, Paul Stanley glitter art, and they will pop up, and a few other ones that I have. So it's been fun. It was started off just as a little hobby, and Bruce said, hey, you should do one of the KISS Asylum ones. And I did, and then, the rest is history.
Right.
So.
And what size artwork are they? They look online big to me.
Well, I started doing the big ones, and then I added some smaller sizes. So now I have the 16 by 20, the 11 by 14, and I also added a couple of 8 by 10s.
Okay. And is it only KISS stuff, or is it other stuff besides KISS?
Marilyn Monroe, and I have Frank Sinatra, and I'll be putting a few. I did have some Elvis, but they got sold. And
okay.
Yeah, the KISS ones, those seem to do well.
Of course, absolutely. Yep. So what made you decide to go in? Has art always been like a passion of yours from when you were younger?
Not at all. And actually, a couple of weeks ago, I did put up a video on my social media where I talked about how I got started, because when some people saw my art, one girl messaged me and said, what got you into this? So I did tell the story about how I had found this T-shirt that had some bling on it of Marilyn Monroe, and then I saw the poster and thought, well, can I put gems on that poster and add a little glitter and have that same effect? And then just started taking black and white photos and then adding, different types of gems, and it just was more for me at first. And then I really enjoyed doing it. Then I had too many pieces, and I thought, I'm going to have to start getting rid of some of these pieces. We don't have any space or wall space left for them. And then started making some for friends. And
tell them about the martini one, because that was funny.
Yeah. Well, in the KISS world, many people know Lisa Martini.
She's one of the girls on, Three Sides of the Coin.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, I know her name.
Sides of the Coin, rather. Yeah.
And she had asked me months back, she said she had a martini wall, which is just different photos of martinis. And she had said, I want you to bling something for me. And I said, well, we'll look at that. And now that I had some downtime, she approached me again. So I found a really, really cool print that I made big, kind of had a blonde girl leaning over a martini, and I blinged that all up, and it's kind of like Lisa's the blonde girl in the picture. And it came out really, really good.
What's really funny is that she asked Lisa Martini, so what's your favorite color? And apparently she said black, okay? Black, gems on the
face. So I did it the opposite way. Right. And this thing had more color. It was like a rainbow version of a martini
and she
glass.
totally freaked, of course, seeing it,
That is very
and that's what I love about Lisa, is that she's got a vision. I mean, I didn't realize how kind of creative she was. Like when I met her, she just started a job where she had one of those corporate grunt jobs where you're in medical sales, and it was important for her at the time to have, a living, making a living, and but I was aware that she was always a big thinker, and like she could envision things, you know what I mean, that were even at that job, that corporate job, she had ideas that she shared, that they implemented some things. They never advanced her quite the way I wish they would have, because I think she's totally incredible, the whole package, but the way the corporate world is, okay.
Right.
Creatively, I mean, I knew even when we started dating that she sang at one of our early dates. There was a karaoke bar.
It took me a year to sing, though.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She sang, and then she picked a Judy Garland song that I didn't know very well, but I knew she was talented. But over the years, I've seen her eye for how a home could be decorated, how colors work together, and then of course when we bought the home here in Nevada, it took a lot, to turn it into ours, but and then the job had to end anyway. So then her job was make the home in her vision, and it's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for her because I had a busy year since we moved here. That year and a half was so hectic with travel, right? And every room, and she's ordering things on Amazon. We're going to the stores, we're choosing things, and that eye though for form of decorating and things like that, and colors that work, and the fact that of course she incorporates all that knowledge or that taste, shall I say, in her artwork, because I'm picky too. I'm the guy who could tell that the photo is crooked, you know what I mean? But I also have a good eye for like what works, but I think that creative part of her is something that I think besides the music, she needs to share with everybody.
So then I have to ask, whose idea was the Eric Singer fly swatter in the back behind you guys?
That was
it's
a
good story. Well, a good friend of ours that's very close with Eric, and I didn't know him. I'm not as close to him as Eric, but he's someone that speaks to Eric like every day. This guy, Stefan Adik, and he was going crazy as soon as this thing shut down. He's a player, plays bass. I've jammed with him a lot. He's a very funny guy, real fun guy. And he was reaching out very early on because he realized, I'm doing this show, Coffee Talk with Stefan Adika. Yep. And it's early morning. And Doc McGee was like probably the first guy with a, real, like everybody knows, what I mean, to be on his show. As soon as I got, but Eric was the one that told Stefan, get Bruce, he likes doing that stuff because Eric is very reserved with the social media and the interviews and everything.
Yep, absolutely.
So I said to Stefan, I got an idea. Eric won't do it because I kept telling Stefan, no, Eric should do it. Eric should be on. You know what? All right, he doesn't want to do it. Fine, he'll be there. Don't worry. So I asked a friend of mine. I asked my friend Michael, get me a good image that would fit like life-size head of Eric from not makeup.
Right.
So he finds a revenge picture, right?
Yep.
And I printed it out, and then I'm like, well, I got to put it on a stick to hold it in front of my face because I'm going to be like, hi. So that's what happened. And then when I did you with Stefan, I brought him on. Hey, Eric's here. Here he is. I put him in front of me. So it's so funny that Lisa always. There's so many times I want to take him down from there. And Lisa's like, no, leave him there.
Leave him because we have you can't see it where we are now, but there's a cutout right in front of us that looks out into our kitchen. So I'm cooking and I can look and I'll see Bruce's top of his head is the computer, and then I'll see Eric in the background. So I always feel like Eric's looking over, looking over her shoulder, and
he's wild and woolly, but
that's hilarious.
I hope he doesn't mind that.
We love him.
Yesterday, a couple of days ago, there was a nice rainstorm, and I left the door open upstairs, but I forgot to put the screen. So a couple of those big crane flies, they're like mosquito ones, pretty bugs. And then I'm like, Lisa, I'm going to have to use the Eric fly swatter. You know what I mean? So, I had to. I used the back, not his face. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So what did you want to know?
No, I was going to say, so I see you picked up the guitar. I wanted to just say, you give guitar lessons online, right?
Yeah.
So how do people do that?
They're rewarding for me, though. It's real interesting. Everyone's got a different level and talent,
Yeah.
But that Meet app is a way to book me, and people I had from years ago, and occasionally I'll hear from them, hey, I got time now, let's do another lesson, but I enjoy it. It's work. Some of them actually write songs and they want me to help them with the song and the arrangement. I enjoy that too. There was even like a local person I saw on one of those neighborhood apps, and they're like looking for a guitar teacher for my son, and I'm like, how old is he? And then I think I'm going to be too advanced for him. And she wrote back like, no, I think, you're the right guy to motivate them, maybe. You know what I mean? Okay. We do something every other week, so I didn't respond yet. But you know what I'm saying? So, like,
sure.
Look, I used to teach. You guys don't know. I mean, I was in Queens. I remember working at a music store that I'd go to after college, probably like between, let's say I was done from college at 3, you know, from Queens College, and then I'd go over to the store, you know, between 4 and 6, these half-hour lessons, you know, with young, a lot of them were really young kids, you know. Sometimes I went to people's homes. I did stuff like that. But this is one great thing about technology now is that we can do this. You know, besides an interview and besides us entertaining, that I can do online instruction. I shared something funny on Instagram yesterday, though. Okay. There was a girl. I made it sound like it was
yeah, the one playing the guitar. And I saw you.
Yeah. And you know, I never want to scream when I'm giving any of those lessons. Sometimes Lisa's kind of like,
I'll have to yell.
Stop yelling at them. You know, but when you like, you know, go up the neck, and they're going like that. No, up is the other way. And then the next time they try it, they go that way again. Stop! You know what I mean? It's just, I'm pretty comical with it. But it really means a lot to me when I can get them to kind of get the concept of playing, how KISS works. I mean, KISS, for even the guys that can play, they don't get that the KISS music is much more orchestrated and complicated than you think. You know what I mean? And simple song like Strutter is going to have 2 very different parts, you know, where Paul's doing a boogie woogie chord thing, and then Ace is doing those like kind of like, you know, these other things, you know, and there's a reason why that works, you know. So I'm able to, I never give the students, I'll call them students, whatever, at the lessons. I don't, you know, like I don't have like a book or a curriculum of like, first you're going to learn this, and then you're going to learn that, and then we go to here. You know what I mean? It's not done like a lot of the schools.
Sure.
Generally assessing what they do, what they can do, how they can improve that, and then how they can put it together. I had a lesson with a guy that was really a good player yesterday. I'm like, you don't really need me. No, but like your solos are so great. Can we look? Tears are falling. Can you explain that to me? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Then I can be you know what I mean? Like the guy can play everything. He's actually even faster than me. You know, but I explain the conceptual nature of how that solo was made and the positioning and why I chose this riff. And he was like, oh, wow. And he was able to do that crazy, you know, he was able to just play it immediately. Okay. It took him like 5 seconds, and he started to get the rhythm. I said, so you understand how that works? He goes like, yeah, that's great. I love that. And then where'd you go after that? You know, and then I'm over here. Oh, wow. So, and the more I told him, I'm not so sure he needs any lessons. I think he still wants to take more lessons. Okay. I have the time when I was doing the traveling and everything.
Sure.
I didn't have kind of free time.
And you said that the website was Meat Hook. Did I hear you properly?
Meat Hook. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I put it up on social media, but it's literally like MEE, not meat like a piece of steak. You know.
Right.
Lisa always laughs at the name with me. You know. So that crazy app. And obviously with the free time now, I got a little more aggressive, and the guy who put it together, he's really pleased, you know, and he did a little video for me. I gave him some content to share, but meathook.com, and you see the site, and you'll see when I'm available, and you can take, you know, the 30-minute segment or 20 or an hour. You can book them consecutively, whatever. You know, it's still a kind of a new thing for me, but I'm enjoying it.
And then people could do cameo videos with you as well, right?
Right, that's when you need that shout out, you know, like, hey, Mike, you know, your wife asked me to wish you a happy birthday.
Right.
But I'm, you know, like a lot of people's cameos, there were some big stars that, look, it is fascinating. You know, like this famous person is just in his kitchen or whatever in the living room, and he's wishing, you know, that movie star is wishing a happy birthday to your loved one or whatever. It's amazing. But I always like wanted to do it. Fortunately, with Lisa, I don't have to do selfies. She can hold the phone, and the quality's a little better. I can hold the guitar, maybe play a few riffs. So they've been really doing well for me, and I really do enjoy doing that because, you know, that's a virtual quick meet and greet. You know what I mean? It just is, you know.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's going to have to look at things like that now because we can't hug each other. We can't come see each other quite yet, you know.
Absolutely.
And hopefully people understand that. But there are always going to be other ways that you can reach out and have that thrill of one-on-one. I mean, I know that any of my fans that will watch this, well, they're going to love that Lisa's here.
Agreed.
they don't really know everything about her and express herself, except from some of them that contact her on, Messenger on, Facebook and everything. But I was really flattered when you asked to have her involved, so it's fun.
No, I'm glad that you both were able to join. To me, it was exciting. Bruce, thank you. Yep. Lisa, thank you. Bruce, I'll say I'm looking forward to more of the isolated riffs. Lisa, I'm looking forward to the performances you guys do. I'll keep praying every night. Maybe King of Hearts will show up in the isolated riffs one day, Bruce.
There you
go. That's my personal request. But no, seriously, thank you guys both. It's been great, and stay safe to both of you, and hope to see you on the roads much sooner rather than later.
Got it. All right. Thanks again, Mike. Stay healthy.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Alrighty, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Bruce and Lisa Kulick, and I want to thank them once more for taking the time to sit with me and do an interview together as husband and wife for the first time. I really appreciated it, and it was a lot of fun. Also, sorry about that last 10 minutes or so with Bruce being cut off. When we were watching it live, it did not look that way, so sorry about that. While you're here, hit that subscribe button below on my YouTube channel. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.